start. So I'd like to now call executive convene SFSS on Friday, March 22nd at 1:02 p.m. We respectfully acknowledge that the SFSS is located on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Coquitlam, and Katzie nations. Unceded means these territories. The first owner given up by these nations, where we're currently situated on occupied territories. We start with the call, starting with me. I'm here. Alex's needs are just fine. Acting VP Internal.
Hi, Ashley. They, she pronouns. All my access needs are met for today.
Very nice. VP Finance. Here in the chat. Very good. VP University. Oh, VP University. Thomas. Yeah, reasonably sure he's here. He just entered in. VP External. Are you able to is VP External inside of the meeting right now?
Yeah, I'm here. My name is Nancy. Pronouns are she, her, and my access needs are met. I'm just driving. Sorry, it's just being kind of weird.
Okay, never mind. VP Equity.
Hi everyone, my name is Priyanka. Pronouns are she, her, hers, and access needs are met for today.
Excellent. VP Events.
Name Jaya, pronouns she, him, his, all my access needs are met.
That's terrific. Okay, temporary operations. So
Cinder here, pronouns she, her, hers, access needs are met.
okay, I'm gonna move on. Be it resolved to adopt the consent agenda. Fine. Unanimous. And it is. The matters arising from the minutes is just March 8th. Seeking unanimous consent. Receiving the consent. Very good. Now it's time for the adoption of the agenda. I move.
A second.
Equity seconds be it resolved to adopt its agenda as presented from the habit today. Question inside of the chat. Yes, Equity.
I've placed a few amendments in the chat. I move these as a batch.
Okay, they all seem to be in camera discussion. All right, I second it, seeking unanimous consent. There is no dissent. Very good. We are added on. Yes, Thomas.
I sent a few amendments in the email, but I guess I'll just put it in the chat. And I like to add them as a batch, of course.
Oh, okay. These are all in camera items. Are there any motions?
No, I want to strike the what's called the discussion item and add it just in camera.
Oh, okay, cool. I second it, seeking unanimous consent. There was no dissent. That's very good. These are also added on. Do we have any further lists? Going once. Going twice. None. Okay. Be it resolved to adopt the agenda as amended. Once again, looking for unanimous consent here.
Yeah.
And there is no dissents. Very good. We have our agenda. Okay. Now it's time for section 7, called reports. Reports from 3 bodies: management, exec officers, and HR personnel. Do we have any reports for these? It seems like we don't. I can definitely say we don't have any from exec officers or HR. So I will move on to number 9, which would be new business. Yes, this looks on track. Okay, this is 9.1, executive committee lounge access, submitted by. Firstly, I move. Anyone care to second?
University.
University seconds. Whereas the current vice chair of council currently has Bob access to the SFSS exec committee lounge during operating hours, whereas the OCEO committee current vice chair after the investigation motion of the SFSS issues policies, whereas the SFSS is not forced to discuss the purpose of the vice chair why access to the SFSS exec committee lounge for purposes except officers into the office lounge leisure and not work related purposes. Be it resolved, vice chair, turn the access file to the staff. It would resolve the AVPs and exec officers only provide members access into the executive committee lounge for work related purposes. We'll start off with Ashley's report. Ashley.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else, but I can't really hear a word Liam is saying. I know we kind of were talking about that earlier, but yeah, it's still really impossible to hear you. I'm not sure if anybody else is having that same struggle.
Really? Dang. Basically, I was just reading the entire motion aloud. I don't see that as something very important to repeat again, so I'm not going to bother with it. But if my mic is clear and I can't find a way to fix it, Ashley, would it be bad not to the point where we might as well have a different chair?
I mean, on my end, I'm kind of considering it. You were a little bit better there after you finished reading the motion. I think maybe if you speak into your mic, we could try that. I don't know if anybody else has any comments, that would be appreciated because it could just be on my end.
Okay, if I get a second complaint from anyone else, I'll consider it. Tom, is your list?
Hi, yes, I originally put the in camera stuff because I was hoping we could have a discussion for this in camera at first, but I guess we can just go straight to voting, honestly speaking. I don't think this needs much clarification for everyone. But I will say before 9.2, I would like to ask if we could go in camera and discuss 7.4 first.
Discuss 7.4 first. Oh, okay. But what about this motion right now?
This motion, we can just go straight to voting. I think it's fine. Just go straight to voting.
Okay. All right. All right. Do we have any other lists from anyone else? Yes, Ashley.
I happen to notice that the to be it resolved clauses seem somewhat unrelated. I'm almost inclined to move to divide the question on this one, as one of them is about removing the vice chair's fob access and the other is about imposing regulations on people with fob access. They don't really seem to cohere in a certain way. I understand why they were written as one motion, but I'm inclined to move to divide the question for the to be it resolved clauses, so we vote on them as separate issues.
Thomas.
I can see where you're coming from, Ashley, but I disagree. I argue the whole point is to just try to make sure we're focusing on keeping this only work-related purposes. And currently, I do not see any work-related purpose for the vice chair to have access to the exec lounge. So I'm just like saying in general, we're cutting down all access because it's just for work. And unfortunately, vice chair does not fall into that.
Yes, Ashley.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, and I'm of course a big fan of reducing the non-work related activities that occur in the exec office. However, I actually see more reason for the vice chair to be in there, as when I was vice chair, I was constantly assisting Liam, chairing council meetings or discussing important matters. More so than I see current AVPs doing work related matters in there, which is why I'm a big fan of the second be it resolved clause to reduce non-related work of AVPs who are almost constantly not working in there when they're in there. So I kind of have some concerns about where this motion is coming from, as the vice chair traditionally has done a lot of work in there. I know I did when I was vice chair. It might be different now, but I am concerned about where this motion is coming from, and if it is actually about reducing the non-work that the vice chair is doing in the office, or if it is just about no longer wanting the vice chair in the office for personal reasons.
I should hope my mic is better this. Yes, Thomas. Direct response.
Yeah, I totally understand, but in recently, I had found the vice chair had brought up several students up into the office, and they were not working, and this I'm kind of just want to make sure, like, for the remainder of this term at least, we try to focus on this place being a workplace and not a lounge kind of leisure place. And so I would like to focus all our efforts towards that. And that is the main purpose of this motion.
Okay. I have to cut off the lists from Thomas and Ashley quite soon. It's just these two back and forth. But Ashley, I'll take your list.
Yeah, thanks. Just one last list. If that truly is the case, Thomas, could we not just include the vice chair in your second be it resolved clause to limit the non-work related stuff that they do in there, rather than removing all of their fob access, as they might require it in the future, but then just mandate, just like we are AVPs, that they are only in there if it is for work. I don't know, just a suggestion, but that's my last list.
Hi, I completely understand. However, this was not always the case. For the longest time, actually, the vice chair did not have access. It was solely execs and AVPs. And I want to bring it back to that way. I will be making sure my AVPs are solely here for work purposes. And I think that we need to try and make sure that this place is focused on just work and no leisure.
Okay, then. Do we have any other lists from anyone else here? Going once?
Sorry, I can't list right now because I don't have access to the chat, but could I put it in the list?
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted just more so maybe like a clarification on Ash's last point, because I do think that might solve a bit of the back and forth between Thomas and Ashley, the maybe limiting or just adding the vice chair into that last clause. They keep the key, but we can definitely monitor the work that people are doing, who's allowed to bring people in, and things like that. I do think that maybe there's more to look into that, but I just kind of want to ask probably expand on that a bit more, because there might be a bit more within that Thomas could work with.
Wait. You would like Ashley to expand a bit more into that might not be.
No, just because like, sorry, when I was like listening to it, I like half of what Ash like said cut out, so I just don't know if that was all of what Ash had said or if that was like the gist of what it was. Because maybe that is not so much like a expansion, but more so like a clarification. Because I missed a bit of that. I just heard like Thomas's response.
Okay, Ashley.
Yeah, sorry if I cut out there. I can repeat what I said to help Nancy there. Essentially what I was saying is that last be it resolved clause is about having only work-related matters occur and only granting access for work-related matters. I see no reason why we should continue to allow AVPs fob access, who also traditionally have not had executive office except for this year. I see no reason why we can't continue to give fob access to all people who might possibly need to have work-related matters in the exec office and just regulate them all the same. I see no reason to remove the vice chair's access to the exec office if we're just going to do the same thing to AVPs and make sure they're only working in there. I think it's quite clear to me that this is a personal attack against the vice chair and not about work-related matters, since we could just have one be it resolved clause mandating that all execs, AVPs, and the vice chair only do work in the exec office. That is what I said in my previous list.
Okay, thank you for that. Priyanka, your list.
I, from what I've understood, I agree with the be it resolved Ashley's proposed to make the last one that AVPs, executive officers, and the vice chair only provide access into the lounge for work-related purposes. I do agree with Tom's sentiment that if we are allowing people into the space, it should be for work. And we should be avoiding like kind of like leisurely entry into the space. Yeah, so I think I'm more on par with that one.
Okay, thank you very much. Thomas, I see your list. This will be the last list from you that I will take. And I'll be looking for discussions from anyone else, but I will take your list. Go ahead. Hello?
Hi, I'm just putting this forward because originally it was just execs and AVPs. The vice chair did not have access for the longest time. I'm just saying we should revert to that and make sure that AVPs stick to just doing work here and there's no other distractions. That's the main reason for this motion.
Okay. All right. All right. I am gonna call one more time for any further lists. Going once. Going twice. 3 times. Okay. Doors closed. We're gonna go to voting now. And the voting's gonna be roll call. You know it. Starting with myself, I am going to, oh, yes, Thomas?
No, I'll make an amendment to the motion, actually. Can I make an amendment to the motion?
Oh,
Before we go to voting?
okay, okay, yeah.
I guess we'll vote on this amendment then. But I'll change it that be it resolved that AVPs and the vice chair return the access fob to the SFSS building staff. And be it further resolved that executive officers only provide members access into the executive committee lounge for work-related purposes.
Oh, okay, I see. Io, I see you have a POI.
I just wanted to ask what we're voting on, but
We were originally going to be voting on 9.1.
now we're voting on the amendment. That's fine.
Yep, that's right. All right, so Thomas, your amendment's going to be the restriction of fob access to both AVPs along with the vice chair. I take it. All right, I see it. Ashley, do you have a quick list?
Yeah, I have a list for the amendment. I think this is kind of an overcorrection, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Like I've said previously, I'm a big fan of making sure that only work occurs in the exec office. But I also think that sometimes the AVPs and vice chairs have work to do in the exec office, and there isn't always necessarily an exec who hears them knock on the door to let them in. This was kind of a convenience thing that we decided upon this year. And while last year neither AVPs nor vice chairs had exec office, I think if we implement rules mandating that they actually do work and aren't just, I don't know, socializing or whatever, that's an acceptable correction here. I don't think necessarily removing all access is the move, so I will be voting against this amendment, but I don't know, I'm curious to know how other people will vote.
The way I see it, no matter which direction we go, we only have about 1 or 2 other months left. And if things go well or if things don't go well, the next exec team can easily change this on the fly. All it takes is one exec meeting. I don't really see anything that happens regarding to this topic to be of substantial consequence. So I'm honestly inclined to vote either way on this one. At least that's my personal opinion for it. But we're going to be voting on the amendment now. And for the interest of time, I think I'm going to go to voting for the amendments right away on the amendments. All right. And we're going to be starting with, we're going to go with, starting with myself. I abstain. We're going to go for acting VP internal now.
Against.
Internal against. Okay. VP finance. Finance is in favor. Okay. VP UAA.
In favor.
Also in favor. Okay. VP external.
In favor.
VP external is in favor. All right. VP equity.
I'm gonna abstain.
Equity abstains. Okay. VP events.
In favor.
Okay. VP events is in favor. That's going to be 1 against, 2 abstains, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 in favors. Okay. So this amendment will pass. Now, if I may, I will go straight to the actual voting on the amendment motion. Once again, roll call, and once again, starting with myself, I'll be voting, yeah, I'll vote in favor for it. Now it's going to be active VP internal.
Against.
Internal against, VP finance. Also in favor, all right, VP university.
In favor.
In favor. Now I'm moving on to VP external. VP external.
Sorry, in favor.
In favor, VP equity.
In favor?
In favor, okay, VP events.
I abstain.
VP events abstains. All right then. So this goes for, I'm pretty sure it was 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 in favors, 1 abstain, 1 against. So this passes by majority. The amendment 9.1 passes by majority. Very, very good. Very good. All right then. Before we get to item 9.2, Thomas, was there an in-camera discussion you want to have before we moved on to 9.2?
Yes, I was hoping we could do all the in-camera stuff and then come to this, like voting for this afterwards.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This seems fair. This seems fair. All right. I don't think we formally agreed on this. I'm going to move to suspend the rules, take care of all the in-camera discussions submitted by Thomas. Yeah, beforehand, and then go back to new business 9.2. I'm going to seek unanimous consent. Receiving no dissents, so I'm going to move to go in camera for the remainder of the meeting. May I get a seconder?
University.
University seconds, seeking unanimous consent. There's no dissent. That's nice. I'm going to pause. Recording is resumed. I'd like to move to go in camera for the remainder. I'd like to move to go X camera for the remainder of the meeting. May I get a seconder?
Equity?
Equity seconds, seeking unanimous consent. There's no dissent. Well done. Motion 9.2 is the sub 1330 design space MOU by VP Thomas. I would like to move to postpone 9.2 until further notice. May I get a seconder?
University.
University seconds. I'm looking for unanimous consent. There is no dissent. This is unanimously postponed and dealt with. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing else. All right. I am now going to move to go back to in-camera meeting. Let me get a seconder.
Equity.
Equity seconds. Look for unanimous consent. Receiving no dissent. Very nice. Okay, the recording is now resumed. I'm going to move to go back into X camera for the remainder of the meeting.
University seconds.
That's very good.
Equity seconds.
Internal.
Okay, be it resolved to adjourn this meeting